giving up what they knew and lived more to create a future that they could give to their children. The most important value that gave them the courage to come here was their faith in God. They were all trusting that He would provide for them. Why do I say this? Because their first building in this community was a church, St. Wenceslaus Catholic Church. How many of you have been in a town with only one church that has existed for 150 years? And today that steeple stands above all and is the first image you see in this community. The second value was the family. The stories you will hear tell of families that came together and separately and depended upon each other for their continuation in this new home. Beside families were the workforce that helped each other. How many remember the families that occupied a full pew at St. Wenceslaus? Finally, service to our country and our community were embedded in the third value. The men and women that served in our military from the Tabor community were numerous. They understood the importance of a country protecting its people and its freedoms. We know some gave all to make that difference. So today, we are here to celebrate our families, our memories, and our Tabor. Before we begin, though, we are customary in our greetings to each other. With whatever comfort zone you have, please share a yucks and mosh with those around you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er
Senior Herman if he would cut the wind out. I think he's got a little power that way, maybe. We come before the Lord today, God our Father. Thank you for the celebration of Tabor, South Dakota, for the Czech heritage. We thank you for the 150-year anniversary of the establishment of Tabor. We honor those who have gone before us and helped bring Tabor into existence. Help us today to carry on the legacy of Tabor and the Czech community and to continue to build a strong foundation in this community. Help us to give ourselves in building a vibrant community. We pray for continued success of all the adventures that lie in the future. Help us to take care of the gifts that we have been given and help us to multiply those gifts. We pray for a safe and enjoyable celebration today and tonight. We pray for at least 150 more years. We ask this in the name of Jesus, who lives and reigns forever and ever. Amen. God bless you.
From that first town board to our present day board, they have continued to serve our citizens and given of their time and talent. Please welcome the town board chairman, Tabor Mayor Laverne Schaefer, and the town board.
Good afternoon. On behalf of myself, my fellow councilmen and councilwomen, we want to thank you all for attending our 150 celebration. And thank you for coming out on such a blustery, windy day. Could be a lot worse, I guess. We could be out west where they're battling snowstorms and blizzards. I want to introduce my fellow councilmen. First, we have Susan Schrader, who just got appointed last month, and she ran unopposed, so she's our newest member. She replaced Aaron Mellicar, who was on for 6 years. I don't know if he's around, he can wave his hand. Next, we have Rich Shatera. He's not here. He's probably working on duty as our deputy sheriff. He's been on also for 6 years. We have Linda Barish. She's been on for 7 years. And Kenny Sarda. He's our vice president. He's been on for 14 years. And yours truly, I've been on for 23 years, 12 years as mayor. Thank you again, everyone. Oh, we forgot. I got 2 people that really have a big part in keeping this town going. And our maintenance man who couldn't make it, he's got good stuff going on. He's been on with us for 5 years, doing a great job out there. And our finance officer, F. Klochek, she's been with us for 15 years, doing a great job. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very good. Now we've got a little bit of a surprise. Is that correct, Mark? All right. You're going to have to drop the screen. Is that what you said? Okay. All right. So I don't get hit by the screen. We are getting a very special message from the homeland, the mayor of Tabor, Czech Republic.
is built in part through tradition. Tabor, South Dakota has 150 years history of Czech days, is celebrating its 70th year. This tradition based on the proud heritage of the Czech people in South Dakota. Roots of the community established there so many years ago. It is a joy for me and my fellow citizens here in Tabor, Czech Republic to think of this celebration of shared community. I hope to one day attend Tabor's Czech days, eat the kolačky, and to see the famous Tabor Beseda dancers in their beautiful traditional costumes. It must be quite sad. Or to welcome some members of your community here to our annual celebration, the Tabor meetings, or as we say in Czech, Taborská setkání. It is held each September with many of the events being held directly here in our historical Tabor Square. And of course, under the watchful eyes of our historical general Jan Žižka. Until then, and me and all my fellow Taborites here in South Dakota wish all of you a great evening. And very na zdraví.
Integral in our Tabor community is our annual Czech Day celebration, a holiday of faith, family, and socializing, and enjoying our national beverage, the red beer. Please welcome Queen Camille Sikora, the 2021 Czech Days Queen, with her court for a welcome. Princess Jocelyn Katalik, 2021 Czech Days Princess, and Prince Connor Manis, 2021 Czech Days Prince.
Welcome to the 150th birthday of the great town I've got to represent for the past 10 months. My name is Camille Sikora and I'm the 2021 Czech Days Queen. My parents are David and Linda Sikora and I'm a senior at Bonholm High School. I've had the opportunity to travel from community to community, representing my heritage and community with these two great kids. But that's enough about me. I have some pretty important people to introduce you to. First, the 2021 Czech Days Prince.
My name is Connor Manis and I'm 10 years old.
Where are you from, Connor?
Utica, South Dakota.
What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Helping on the farm and doing my chicken chores.
Only kid I know that likes doing chores. So, if you're so big into farming, what's the best kind of tractor, red or green?
Case.
Case? Yeah, show the back of your vest. Look at that tractor, isn't that cool? Thanks, Connor. And now for the princess.
I'm Jocelyn Talk. My parents is Ben and Jill Talk.
Where are you from, Jocelyn?
Tabor.
So what do you like to do in your free time?
Ride my horse.
Ride your horse? You're also involved in 4-H, right?
Yes.
What kind of events do you compete in?
Horse, pig, cows, and shooting sports.
You seem busy. Wow, thank you. On behalf of my court, I want to thank you all for braving the wind and making it out tonight, and I hope to see you all back in attendance June 17th and 18th for the 73rd Annual Czech Days. Dziękuję.
We are very honored to have representatives from the Czech Republic in the United States to attend our Sesquicentennial anniversary. We will begin by please welcoming Yaroslav and Olga Katurek, Consul General of the Czech Republic in Chicago. Come on up.
Dobré odpoledne, jak se máte? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great pleasure and honor to be with you today in Tabor, South Dakota, not Tabor, Czech Republic, and celebrate with you the 150th anniversary of founding such a beautiful town in the middle of South Dakota. I have spent the whole morning here. I have visited the church, the cemetery, the Beseda Hall, the restaurant, and many heritage buildings here, and I am really impressed how you can preserve all this heritage and all this ancestry of your predecessors in such a faraway place. It's for me always very interesting to visit such a places. I have heard a lot about the Czech Days in Tabor because it is one of the even top US and South Dakota attraction, and I know how many people and how many efforts it needs to organize such a wonderful celebration every year, year by year. It will be this year 73rd Czech Days. It's really something, and I have heard that this is the synonymous of the fun, of the polka dancing, of Czech food, and it's the same atmosphere here to see so many people to come to celebrate your anniversary. So I am very, very proud, and I know that there is a lot of people to be addressed for my thanks. I have heard about all the efforts of the Mr. Denis Povondra, his son, and many other people I have met today in your wonderful museum, in the places everywhere to organize such an event. And it's for us very important to see how this heritage, how this Czech culture heritage is living in these places, and we are always very happy to support anyhow these events, and it's only the smallest what we can do with my wife to come to see how nice people, nice places we have here, and really it's something to preserve this heritage not only for the future generations here, with all your traditions, with all your dancing, with all your preserving this wonderful Czech customs, songs, dances and food, but I think it's also very important to bring this message back to my country. Then for many people it will be really surprising how the people here more than 150 years, because I have really heard that in 1869 the first settlers came here and founded this place, and in 150 years we can see that you really actively preserve this culture, this heritage. So congratulations, I wish you a wonderful celebration today, and also very successful 73rd Czech Days in Tabor. Thank you very much.
Olga, you need to stand up so the people can see you. This is his wife. Well, as the saying goes, we are so glad that the windy city of Chicago blew you in for today. Next, I would like to welcome Merit Lee Kuchera. She is the honorary consulate from St. Paul, Minnesota. Would you like to come forward?
Good afternoon. Dobrý den. My name is Marit Kuchera. I'm the honorary consul of the Czech Republic for Minnesota, Iowa, North Dakota, and South Dakota. And it's my honor to be here again in Tabor. I was here last summer with Jan Kubishta, who was the then Deputy Consul General from Chicago. And Tabor has a little special place in my heart because my great-grandparents homesteaded near New Prague, Minnesota, but they came from just south and east of Tabor. So I wish you all a great celebration today, and I hope to be able to come back for the summer festival. Thank you.
Now, please welcome Sharon Vlasek, Honorary Consul, Czech Republic for Kansas and Missouri.
Good afternoon. It is a great pleasure to be here with you on this special celebration. It is my very first time to be in Tabor, pronounced both. So I'm happy to be here. I've heard, as Yaroslav said, I've heard about this legendary festival, and it usually conflicts with one that's in the Kansas City area, so I haven't made it before, but I'm hoping this year it doesn't conflict, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to make it. So I'm really impressed with this town. We got a tour from, Mara and I got a tour from Ruth. We got in about 1 o'clock this afternoon. She took us around to all the buildings, and I'm so impressed with, you know, this is not a big place, but look at all the heritage and the buildings and all that you've done to preserve. It's just amazing what a bunch of Czechs with fortitude and dogged determination can do to continue to preserve and promote your heritage. It's a real honor to your ancestors what you've done here. Just briefly, I live in Kansas City and represent Kansas and Missouri, and I want to extend an invitation to you to come to our Slavic Festival, which is June 10th and 11th, just the weekend right before yours. It's in a community called Sugar Creek, Missouri, which is on the edge of Kansas City, very near, like 5 minutes from the Truman Presidential Library. And it's where a lot of Czechs and Slovaks settled to work at the Standard Oil refinery back around the turn of the previous century. So they've kept their tradition. The folks that live in that community started 30-some years ago, and they've kept the tradition alive. So you are most welcome to visit and come to our festival. And it is my honor to be here today with you. Thank you for including me.
Recently, I attended a program Dennis Favundra did on the history of Tabor with a focus on the women leaders that have evolved from Tabor to local, state, and national scene. Today, we are honored with a native Taborite that is President, CEO of the National Czech-Slovak Museum in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Please give a welcome home to Cecilia Rakusek.
Děkuji vám velmi pěkně. Dobré odpoledne, vám přeju srdečný pozdravení od naše Národní muzeum a knihovna ve Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Pro mě by tady je to velice na srdce, velice příjemný. I hope I got sort of crying. Little did I ever think growing up in Tabor, South Dakota, I was happy in academics, that I would become president of our National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library. For me, it's a very humbling experience, and I'm so proud to be a native of Tabor. You know, growing up in Tabor, my father and mother taught me Czech. And when I was little, I didn't really want to speak Czech, but now I am so thankful that they taught me Czech, and Grandma and Grandpa Hale made me speak it, and my father and mother, and then já jsem hrala český divadla. Who remembers the Czech plays we used to have here? Anybody remember the Czech plays? And I played many years there, and that's helped me so much. And I'm so incredibly proud of my Czech and Slovak heritage. Of course, I'm more Czech, but as a Slovak Honorary Consul still for Florida, I very, very much value our rich Czech and Slovak cultures. And I just want to impress two things upon you. Please never give up your Czech history and your Czech culture. Teach the young people. Preserve it. Write down your history. Tell them what Grandma or Grandpa did. What did the great-grandparents do? Because we have to hold on to these traditions. It is our future. You know, if I purposely wore blue and yellow today because in my Moravian jacket, but I wanted us to think about Ukraine. You know, they are our Slavic brothers and sisters. 45 miles of the Slovak border borders Ukraine. And one of the things that Putin said is he wanted to wipe out the Ukrainian culture. We can never afford to lose our rich Czech culture. It's so, so rich. And so I beg you to, first thing, keep the young people involved. And the second thing, in your homes, celebrate the tradition. Celebrate Christmas the way our grandparents used to. Celebrate Easter the way our grandparents used to. So please, and celebrate Czech Days. Never give it up. I know it's hard to get volunteers, but I used to say, and I still do in Iowa, you don't have to be Czechoslovak to enjoy our culture. You can become an honorary Czechoslovak. So involve your community, and please, please never give it up. And at this point I would like, and we're very lucky to have our honored councils here, because that's a big job and they came from far, and our general counsel. I can tell you from working with him closely, he's like our ambassador in the Midwest, and he's wonderful. And you're very lucky that he came, and we are very pleased to have you as well. So if I could ask General Counsel Kantorek to come up, and Dennis Pravandra, would you please come up? Dennis Pravandra? Would you please come up? Both of us have something to present, but Dennis, I know you sort of oversee the museum. And I'm the proud native daughter, I guess, of Tabor. So I want to recognize the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library, the only one in North America, has established an award for Czech and Slovak communities over 100 years old. And I'm proud to say that Tabor is the first one to receive this award. So let me read it to you. Let me read it to you. The National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, recognizes the community of Tabor, South Dakota on the occasion of its 150th anniversary of its founding. The National Czech and Slovak Museum Community Cultural Preservation Award, this is the first. This national award recognizes the leaders and residents of Tabor, South Dakota for their steadfast dedication to preserve the rich cultural heritage that the Czech ancestors brought to the area 150 years ago. The community is an outstanding example of residents working together to maintain their cultural identity and rich ancestry in a land where freedom and democracy are cherished for all. Tabor, South Dakota is truly an icon for Czech cultural preservation for future generations. Signed by myself and Mr. Steve McCollichuk, President of the National Board of Trustees. Dennis, congratulations. And now our Council General has something to present.
So from our consulate, I have just brought a small collection of Alphonse Mucha paintings, perhaps for you and for your close co-workers, but really, as you heard already from several speakers, that everybody appreciates your efforts here, because the Czech Days in South Dakota is one of the top events on the list, and the people like Cecilia Robusek, she helped us with so-called networking of Czech communities, because we are so happy that we can also inform about the events all around the states. And as you have heard, I am the Consul General based in Chicago, but my jurisdiction are 11 states in Midwest. It's a really region which is full of the Czech heritage. Nevertheless, we visit Nebraska, Missouri, Kansas, Minnesota, everywhere we meet such a nice people, such a nice places, and especially that is the main important reason from all these events, to preserve all this heritage for the future generations, and also, as Cecilia mentioned, for everybody around the US, because everybody is welcome to be the honored Czech and Slovaks to be part of our family. And I will bring all these memories and all these special moments from here back to my country, and I think that we can so communicate worldwide. Thank you very much again. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, and I'm not going to say much about that because I'll be speaking next anyhow, so you don't want to hear me too much. And we have gifts for you at the table. that I hope you enjoy, and don't eat too many of the kolaches all at once. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Tabor is well represented in our South Dakota legislature, and we welcome District 19 State Senator Kyle Shanefish. This good senator was a prime in the Senate on a commemoration that was passed, and the Senate recognizing Tabor for its 150th birthday.
Thank you, Eugene. Because Senator Hunoff and your local area legislators and the Tabor community organizations, almost everyone in South Dakota knows what Tabor, kolaches, and check days are all about. I always have a good memory of, on the legislative floor, being able to introduce my nephews, Brayden and Max Barrett, as check princes over a couple years. And I completely agree with the previous comments that you don't have to be of Czech heritage to enjoy the events in the Czech heritage, and I can say that as a full-blooded German here. Certainly look forward to attending Czech days again. The last couple of years, I was able to bring a few of my four-legged kids to our petting zoo this year, but because of a prior commitment, I won't be able to do that. But if any of you saw those goats over the last couple of years and really liked them, I know there's going to be a couple looking for a new home, so you can always get a hold of me if you're looking for another home. Otherwise, thank you everyone for coming and braving the weather to be here. It's going to be a great event, and look forward to another good Czech days.
Thank you, Senator. And I will tell you, Tabor is well known in the halls of our state capitol. With that, if you folks would like to step down, we will say thank you, and so appreciative that you came all this way to help us celebrate a great day. You know, Tabor is so fortunate to have a local historian that has compiled so much info and strives to remind all of us where we came from and what has all been done in this community. Today, Dennis Pabundra will share the Town of Tabor history. Please give a warm Tabor welcome to Dennis Pabundra.
Thank you very much, Jean. Dobrý den. Good day to everyone that has come to Tabor to help us celebrate our 150th anniversary. I want to take this time to give a special thanks to the Tabor Chamber, FCSLA Life, the Town of Tabor, and Beseda Hall as major contributors for helping to sponsor this event today. I also want to take this time to personally thank all of the volunteers from all of the committees that helped put on this celebration. And at this time, I would like all of the volunteers and committee members to please stand up. I'm not going to read your names because I know I'll forget somebody. So will all of the committee members please stand up, or anyone that helped put on this celebration, and would you all give them a big thank you. We couldn't put this on without their help. On with the program. Tabor is born. Because a spinster lacked $205 for a preemption government land title fee in the spring of 1872, Tabor was born. Bonham County was one of the first 4 counties organized in Dakota Territory. It is comprised of 17 townships and covers approximately 540 square miles and 345,600 acres. The Czech settlers who came to Dakota Territory left their old country because of living conditions. While in the old country, the settlers were barely offered a bare existence. They heard about this land of the free, where there was no government oppression or persecution. They heard where a poor man who had the desire to work hard could become well off and take care of his family and his grandchildren and make a better life for himself and his descendants. In the old country, no matter how hard you worked, you would still remain poor. These pioneers were the people with a dream and were not satisfied with what they had. The settlers knew that the long trip to America would be difficult, but thought it was well worth the effort to make that sacrifice. In 1859, a treaty with the Yankton Sioux Indians had been made opening up the land in the Yankton, Bonham, and Charles Mix County to the west up to the Missouri River. The exception of that was in the east Charles Mix County, where that part was part of the reservation and the indigenous people there were of a friendly nature. The Civil War ended in 1865 and Czech immigrants started to move west looking for new opportunities. In June of 1868, in Chicago, in a bar, a Czech agricultural society was formed for the purpose of starting Czech communities in the West. Membership fee was $1. The leader of the society was Frank Venn. Expeditions were sent out in 1869 to Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, and Dakota Territory. The Kocher family had a membership. Czech pioneer immigrants started to settle around the Tabor area in 1869. After spending the winter in Iowa, the Kochers left there in May of 1870 for Dakota Territory. In the fall of 1871, Joanna Kocher, who was then 23 years old, started a preemption on 160 acres of land situated in the northeast quarter of Section 23 of Bonham County, South Dakota. A single person had to pay $2 to record the federal transaction, erect a dwelling of sod or logs, which could not be less than 12 foot by 14 foot long, break at least 5 acres of land, sleep there one night each month, and then at the end of 6 months, pay the government $205 for the deed, which wasn't bad to get 160 acres back then. At the end of 6 months, Joanna did not have the money, so the land was taken up by Sophie Janda, who was the single daughter of Václav Janda, Sr. Sophie also had to drop the claim for lack of funds, and Joanna Kocher took this land for the second time. Soon after the second claim was filed, the Czech settlers in this area became interested in forming a town. Since Joanna did not have the money again to pay the government for the land, she ended up selling it on April 15, 1872, to the Literary Society, which had been formed by the Czech pioneers. The town was to be named Tabor, which translates from Czech to English word meaning camp. This was chosen because the Czechs had been living in a camp setting, and they decided to name the town Tabor and thought it would be appropriate as many of them came from the region around Tabor, Bohemia. Size of the lots and the streets' names were chosen. Before the streets could be surveyed, though, Sophie Janda's father and 2 of her sisters passed away in 1873 and were buried on the lot set aside for the cemetery. When the survey took place, the Janda graves were placed too far to the south, and rather than move the graves, it was decided to extend that lot and shorten the one on the south. This is why there is a jog in the street by the church and cemetery. So if you notice the jog, that is why, because the Jandas were buried there before the streets were surveyed. Tabor was the first community that was founded entirely by Czechs. 150 years later, it is still holding on to some of its original Czech traditions. It was known as the mother city of South Dakota Czechs and also as the heart of Czech Dakota. Tabor seemed to be the stopping point for Czech people that were passing through because they felt like they were at home because of the Czech customs. The inhabitants started to adapt to their country, accepting new styles and new traditions and becoming good Americans. The new American citizens still relate to what their ancestors had gone through to come to this new land as a historical reminder not to forget the past, but to progress to the future and appreciate what they currently have because of the sacrifices of their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and great-great-grandparents. It takes commitment and involvement from all residents, businesses, and their employees volunteering their time, their talents, and their expertise working together to help each other as a whole community and being proud to keep the community alive. Here's wishing for 150 more years of success. Remember to take a look at the 4 buildings sitting across the street here from Beseda Hall. Soon, this year sometime, they will be coming down and a small grassy area will take place and hopefully be in the future and have new buildings placed there. So thank you all for coming, and we appreciate all that you've done for coming here. Thank you.
You know, Dennis just gave you a really brief overview, so I've condensed him to lengthen it, and Chuck Daisy's going to do some of those presentations, so I would encourage you to bring your family, your grandkids, everyone, to again, listen to what Cecilia said. We need to indoctrinate our children on what our history is all about here. Next, we will have the town site purchase reenactment and recognition of the original town site lot owners. Check out the reenactors. Some of those last names are representing the original founders. The saying is that children eventually age to look like their parents, so some of these individuals might look like some of those early founders. So while they're setting up here, you know me and my trivia, I want to know who the oldest man and the oldest woman is here this afternoon that is a descendant from Tabor. Any male that's over 90 years old? Anybody? I don't have an elderly gentleman 90 or above. How about 85 or above? Oh my. Oh, wait a minute. Right here? Descendant, come on up. If I'm looking at it, is this a Mr. Soka? Do I have it right? Jeez, that's pretty good. Come on up. All right, you need to tell who you are, where you're from, and your family here.
My name is Eugene Sokap, and I'm a descendant of Frantisha Sokap, and from the culture side, Jacob culture, or Anton, sorry. And I married a girl from Tabor, Rosalie Herman, and of course she died about 6 years ago. But I went to school here also for 7 years, and I knew the town very well. I've known you for a long time. And what else?
That's great. We're glad you're here, and here's the cookbook, so you can learn to cook and chat, okay? All right, let's give a round of applause for Eugene.
In the spring of 1872, Czech settlers in the eastern part of Bonham County and the west edge of Yankton County, who were principally members of a reading club that was associated with St. Wenceslaus Catholic Parish, often discussed the idea of creating a town where they could eventually construct a church and which could become the center of the Czech immigrants in this area. This led to a meeting which took place on the farmstead of Jan Hackl, a short distance from what is now Tabor, South Dakota, on April 14, 1872. The group of men met rather informally and discussed the idea of a town and the possibility of buying 160 acres, which Johanna Kocher had taken up on preemption and would soon have to drop because she did not have the $205 fee needed to obtain the title to the land. The discussion could have gone something like this.
Well, gentlemen, we are gathered in our county town. What Well, we will build a church someday, and we need a cemetery now and a school for our children.
In a discussion last Sunday, it was mentioned that Johanna Kocher will have to drop the land she took up because she does not have the funds to pay the government for the title to the land.
Now, that spot would quite be suitable as a creek flows through it and shallow wells could be dug, and there is a nice hill on which we could build a church.
Papa and I will take upon ourselves to speak to Ms. Kocher. Instruct everyone that we will meet here again tomorrow noon.
The group adjourns, but the next day, April 15, 1872, the people met at noon, again in the home of Jan Huckel. This time, many of the women folk are along, but of the 53 charter members, only 2 were women. Those were Johanna Kocher and Sophie Yanda, single daughter of Václav Yanda Sr. The business taken up at the meeting went about like this.
Before we begin our deliberation, we should elect a chairman and other officers, such as a secretary and a treasurer.
I nominate Joseph V. Morning for chairman.
I nominate John Huckel for chairman. We will do it properly and will vote by secret ballot.
Yanda and Hrushka pass out ballots. The vote is very close, Huckel having the majority. Huckel sets to a table and calls for the meeting to continue.
Mr. Chairman, I very much regret such a good speaker who has excellent knowledge of the rules of order activities, such as Joseph V. Morgan should not have an executive office in this venture. And I would make a motion that we also have a town manager. And at the same time, I wish to nominate Mr. V. Morgan to that office.
I second that motion.
You have heard the motion. All in favor, raise your right hand. Well, it's unanimous, so Joseph V. Borney is our mayor. Now nominations for secretary.
I nominate Václav Yanda Jr.
Any other nominations?
I move that nomination cease.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Against? Motion carried. Nominations for treasurer.
I nominate Joseph Bush.
Any other nominations?
I move that nomination cease.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. Against? Motion carried. Honorable Mayor, please give us a report in regard to the land of Johanna Kocher.
To make it short and to the point, Johanna will gladly sell the land and only has $200, so she can pay the government and also request a place for her small log cottage.
We have no money in the treasury. How can we pay?
There are more than 50 here, so if each would pay $5 as a charter member, there would be enough money.
Your attention, please. All who wish to become members and are willing to pay $5, present yourselves.
53 people were registered at this time and became charter members of the town.
I make a motion to buy the land from Johanna Kocher for $200.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Against? Motion passed.
I have written up an agreement between Johanna Kocher and our chairman, the secretary. It would be proper that this be signed.
Joanna, step up to the table. Are you satisfied?
Yes, I am. It is an honor that my land, together with heritage, for the citizens of this newly established town.
Johanna signs the contract, and so does Jan Huckel, chairman, and Václav Yanda Jr., secretary. Chairman Huckel asks Mayor Viborny to bring Frank Bem to the next meeting, as Mr. Bem was a surveyor. Adjournment took place at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the next meeting was called for April 20th, 1872. The following business took place. Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. Chairman Huckel states that a name should be discussed and selected.
I would like to make a motion that the town be named New Woodnutty.
Many of you come from the Woodovitz district. Like Johanna Kocher, would it not be fitting to have the name Woodovitz?
It would be better
suggest that we did not favor anyone as to where they came from. Often when our countrymen from the Czech lands arrive in the Dakota Territory, they live for a while in their wagons at a camp. The word Tabor means camp in the Czech language. Furthermore, in South Bohemia, there is a lovely city named Tabor. For these reasons, it would be my choice to name our town Tabor.
I withdraw my motion and second the motion of our mayor that our town shall be named Tabor.
All in favor of the motion to name our town Tabor, raise your right hand. It is unanimous.
Frank Graham has questions.
I will survey the town, just tell me what you want, but it will take time.
After considerable debate, it was decided to set aside 40 acres for future town use. The remaining 120 acres were to be divided into 15 blocks with 4 lots each, with streets 65 feet wide. Each of the 53 members would get 1 lot, and 3 lots were to be set aside for a church, a cemetery, and a public school. On April 26, 1872, Frank Bem brought the measurements to another meeting and advised the group that each lot would be 220 feet by 286 3/4 feet, with 53 lots for the members and 7 lots for the church and town to use. At this meeting, streets were named: Huckle, Viborny, Checky, Yonda, Bonham, Springfield, Dakota, Chicago, Yankton, and Zizkov. Ownership of lots was decided by drawing numbers from a hat. As we will now do, and please, if your family or your descendants are called, please stand up so we can recognize you and how far back your family lineage goes. Thomas Costal. Frank Welfel. John Cromie. John Sedlacek. Ann Kafranek. Joseph Johnsky. Frank Soka. Frank Hoshka. Frank Sports. The Novotny family, Joseph and Matthew. Václav Petrik. Peter Coast. Leinhard Honner. Anton Rochadel. The Viborny family, Joseph and Bratislav. Vít Marek. The Soretta families, John, Matthew, and Thomas. The Koletsky families, Albert, Jacob, and Mary. The Hershka families, Frank, John, and Joseph. The Huckle families, Frank and John. Václav Sarda. The Wagner families, Albert, Joseph, and Vít. Matthew Horacek. The Kocher families, Anton, John, Johanna, and Veet. Anton Svanchera. John Kroll. John Bosa. Stephen Sturska. Frank Kopel. Jacob Payer. John Hooternutt. The Sikora families, Frank and Thomas. Václav Kozel. The Blocknick families, Frank and Charles. Frank Holla. And the Yanda families, Sophie, Václav Jr., and Václav Sr. Actual surveying was not completed until May 1873 because Václav Yanda Sr. died and with others was buried on what should have been part of Yankton Street. So a jog in the street was necessary. This, ladies and gentlemen, was the beginning of Tabor.
Well, we have quite a few of the family descendants here, so thank you so very much. You know, I want to find out who that oldest lady is here. So is there any woman that's over 90 years old that's a direct descendant from Tabor? No, 90. Well, I'll go 85. Anybody over 85? Marlene Costo. Come on. You have to come up, Marlene, and I'll come down. I won't make you walk the steps. How's that? I want you to know that Marlene is one of the active 8 members of the American Legion Auxiliary. She is our chaplain and she continues to work diligently in supporting our veterans here in Tabor. So just say a little bit about yourself and you get a cookbook. Thank you. Thank you. You know, Marlene has a beautiful voice, and I bet there are many of you in this room that she did your solos at your weddings. We can all remember that. And yesterday she set Monsignor Herman off with a beautiful Czech song. At this time, I'm going to ask Aaron Meligar, and I believe Mr. Schiefer is going to help him to recognize Family Centennial and 150 Farm Recognition. Those family farms are still in existence, and they still contribute to our #1 industry in South Dakota, agriculture.
Thank you, Gene. We'll start off with the 100 to 149th years farm, and we'll ask a representative from each to show up for their award or certificate, and if they're not here, we'll present it or contact them later. I believe they are welcome to take pictures afterwards when we get done presenting these. So we'll start off now at 113 years, the Arden Langley Farm. Next, at 118 years, we got the Folks Farm. Pat. Next, at 120 years, the Richard Pepos Farm. Next, at 121 years is the Rekusik Farm, and I believe Gene Hunoff will probably accept that. Next, at 125 years, the Bob Saba Farm. The Richard Havorka Farm at 130 years. Also 130 years, the Gary Shestak Farm. Again, at 130 years, the Verhoek Velik Farm. Steve. At 132 years, the Hisik Money Check Farm. Don't think there's nobody here for that one. They'll get that presentation later. The Art Catholic Farm at 133 years. At 134 years, the Kokesh Mikolash Farm, Jim and Jason. At 136 years, the Koletsky Farm, Bob and Wayne. I didn't see them here. Good. The Ben Catholic Farm at 137 years. Again, at 137 years, the George and Susan Selachik Farm. One more at 137 years, the Pat Shatera Farm. At 138 years, the Town of Tabor farm. At 140 years, the Virgil Sorella farm. Don't look like nobody here for that one. Again, at 140 years, the Humble farm. At 142 years, the Sesquicentennial farm. Nobody here for that one. Again, at 142 years, the Kenny and Kathy Seiler farm. And the last one of this group is at 148 years, the Bond Home Colony. Now we'll go on for the 150 and up years. It's a long time. At 150 years, the Steve Pepposh farm. Nobody here for that. At 151 years, the Burbach Wagner farm. At 152 years, the Culture farm. Again, at 152 years, the Rizak farm. Nobody here for that one. And last but not least, the Gene Melikar farm. 153 years. Just happen to be my neighbors. Congratulations to all those recipients.
Thank you. Isn't that something? I'm not good if I don't have something to add up, but he said he had, how many total farms, Aaron? Aaron, how many total farms? Okay, so 21 and 5 is 26, and they're all at minimum 100 years old, so add that on. Isn't that phenomenal for this community? Let's again thank those people. Well, you know what? I think it is time for a drawing. And so I have asked Queen Camille. Now she's going to be somebody's friend here because I believe this drawing is $150, right? So you make sure whoever wins that winning dollar buys you a beverage of your choice. So it'll have to be a soda, whatever you like, or water, or whatever. So let's give a good spin.
Christy Dede from Menno, South Dakota. Okay, well, got a reminder. She's got to buy you a beverage. So let's give a round for Christy. She won the $150. Well, I'm looking at those Beseda dancers. Again, dance is part of our Czech culture, and Tabor and the Beseda dancers are recognized regionally and nationally. It was under the direction of James and Anna Schuck and Anna Sutzek that the Beseda dancers began. Today, Heather Kurnizo-Kubal has taken on the reins as they are passed down and provides us with some rings of the dancers. So while we're waiting for her to get organized, I have a question. I'm looking, who came the farthest? Who came the farthest here? That's a descendant of Tabor. I'm going to leave it at that. A descendant of Tabor. Okay, somebody raise your hand over here. I don't know where you're from. You have to talk. I'm old. You have to just tell me the town, state. The what?
No, I'm not a direct descendant of Tabor. I'm a visitor.
A visitor. Okay, there's a hand. Which Texas? Houston, Texas. Anybody further from Houston, Texas? Do I see hand? Houston, Texas? All right, Houston, Texas, you come on up here. You need to introduce yourself and tell us who you're a descendant of. All right, and you tell us who you are and who you're a descendant. Come on up, we'll be back.
I'm Michael Soka. I'm a descendant of Eugene and Rosie Soka, but the original Tabor homestead people was Francisek Soka and Anton Kocher.
Thank you for coming. Did you come especially for this? Isn't that impressive? He gets a big round of applause.
All right, well, I'm Heather Cool. I organized two groups to dance for you today. Some of them are the Czech Day royalty. We have Queen Camille
Grasna, and then God bless America. They're all of our ancestors that have gone before us. Let's make sure they hear us. We wouldn't be here without them and their dedication and their love for this community and as we go forward. So join me in singing Grasna, America. Grasna. Join me. If I can get my note right here. Join me